Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So quick little video here. Over a week ago, Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network linked a couple college prospects to the New York Jets and didn't include Olu Fashanu. And in that video that I was kind of breaking down his prospects, I kind of just went on this side tangent towards the tail end of the video, just talking about, because I was bringing up different players that made sense for New York, in my opinion, at spot number 10. And again, towards the end, I just went on this little side tangent talking about how much I liked Olu and everything like that. So I wanted to kind of just take that little clip and kind of stick it at the end of this little video because now, looking at it a week later, Fashanu's a New York Jet. And at the time, it was still up in the air, right? Fuaga, Bowers, trade up, trade down, Odunze, Neighbors, do they fall? All the possibilities were out there, but now we're sitting here again over a week later with Fashanu going from Happy Valley to New York to Florham Park. Let's freaking go. And then you have Olu Fashanu from Penn State, and I think Olu has elite potential. I think Fashanu can be awesome at the next level, right? I think you take a look at what Fashanu brings as a prospect. And I've been seeing a lot of people down on Olu. He's a mid-first round pick and this and that. I mean, Fashanu is not the perfect prospect. If he was the perfect prospect, we'd be talking about him going in the top 3. But we're talking about selecting him at spot number 10. Some of the arguments include run blocking. The one game against Ohio State this past season where he did not have his best game, he gave up some hurries. I feel like at times there's almost this witch hunt against Olu. There's other offensive line prospects that seem to get the benefit of the doubt in a lot of different areas, but then, in those same categories, Olu just doesn't get them for some reason. I'm not sure if it's prospect fatigue or something like that. I mean, Fashanu was considered a top-end first-round pick in 2022, obviously remained at Penn State, but one of those arguments or one of those points, rather, is that Olu just isn't going to get better, right? Like, you can list off 5-6 offensive linemen in this class that you like, Amarius Mims, Tyler Guyton, right? All these guys, they're going to get better with time, but then where is that argument being made with Fashanu? It's like he's this finished product at 21 years old, 6'6", 315 pounds. It's just like, no, this is who he is. I think Fashanu has an extremely high ceiling. And, again, does he struggle in the running game? Is that a bit of a concern? Yeah, for sure. But we're not talking about Olu as the number 1 tackle in this class. We're not considering taking him with the 2nd pick or the 3rd pick or something. The New York Jets have the 10th pick in this draft. Personally, I don't see Fashanu falling beyond 14. I think if he's there for the New Orleans Saints, they're going to scoop him up. When I think about Fashanu's game, he is the best pass blocking tackle in the draft, and he does it so naturally, right? He stays inside on defenders. He explodes off the snap in pass protection, which is crazy. When the technique is solid, I mean, he really shows off a ton of power. I mean, in the running game, when he gets low and he kind of scoops up from underneath, it's like these guys are just getting thrown around. Another point, too, is that he's not a penalized tackle, right? He has 4 penalties in his entire collegiate football career. 4 penalties. And he's never had a game where he's been flagged more than 1 time. So he's never really had this issue that there's not been this concern over, okay, and look, it's the NFL, it's a different game, different defenses, different players, different coaches. Stuff can definitely change, but as far as what the college resume says, he's not a penalized player. And look, I completely understand, having a concern over run blocking, for sure. I think the New York Jets need to get a lot better in that department, but I think their offseason moves point to that, right? They've added a lot of strength, a lot of power, a lot of veteran experience in that category. And by the way, they've done it on a budget. It's super strategic. It's not like they're just, $90 million in cap space. Let's just sign big name players and hope it works. No, there's a method here. The pick swap with Morgan Moses, signing Tyron Smith to, incentive-based deal. John Simpson, an underrated pickup, but a 17-game starter for the Ravens a year ago, who did look really solid in the running game. And, of course, ABT coming back. But I understand that, going back to Olu, I understand the running game question mark, but my pushback would be, is he a finished product? He can't, like with him projected to be a backup in year 1, learning from former All-Pro tackle Tyron Smith, who, by the way, came out, as a similar pass blocking draft prospect, when and he was back at USC, right? He was picked because of the pass pro. It's just so natural, so effortless, so fluid for him. Olu's kind of the same way. But with Tyron Smith taking Olu under his wing, with a full year of practice, essentially, I guess in year one, you'd have the preseason, you'd have training camp, you'd have rookie minicamp, you'd be put on a strength program in the NFL, working with NFL coaches, and he can't get any better in running in run blocking. I'm just not buying that, right? In worst case scenario, right? Let's just say he's the 20th best run blocking starting left tackle in football, below average. His pass protection, in my opinion, would make up for that. I think, again, he is top, especially in year two to year three. I think he has the potential to be a top 5 pass protector at the left tackle position. He was the Remington Pace winner last year, the best offensive lineman in the Big Ten. I mean, you look at some of the guys that have won that position. Taylor Lewan 3 times, Brandon Scherf, Taylor Decker, Wirfs, Linderbaum, Skoronski. Who was it in 2023? It was Olu Fashanu, right? Again, people reference the game against Ohio State didn't look good. What about the 2 games against Michigan? We're talking Big Ten football here. I don't know why I feel like some arguments are framed as if he's playing in an FCS school, and it's like, all right, well, the only time he's playing against NFL talent was the 1 game against Ohio State. I mean, he played against Ohio State in 2022, Michigan 2 times, Illinois, Iowa, Arkansas early on in his career. I actually think that was a bowl game, if I'm not mistaken. Last season he was the team captain. He allowed 0 sacks, started the entire season, allowed 0 sacks a year ago. How many sacks did he allow in the 8 games 2022? 0. I just, again, is Fashanu the perfect prospect that you're going to check every single box with? No. Does he maybe need some time to develop into a better run blocker? Sure. But I think with Tyron Smith there, it provides that bridge. It provides that mentorship. It provides some time for not Tyron Smith, but for Olu Fashanu to grow, physically develop, and by year 2, or maybe midway through year 1, again, in the event that Tyron Smith were to go down, you have a plug and play type of player in pass protection, and you would hope with all these months of training, all these months of practice, all these months of coaching, that he can maybe look a little bit better in the running game. So that's just kind of my argument for Fashanu here. And I guess the last thing, that I want to leave off on when it comes to Fashanu, and I hate to say it because I am a run first guy, but in today's game, you don't necessarily need to be the best pass protector and the best run blocker. You don't necessarily, like David Bakhtiari throughout the course of his Packers career was never really considered as like the top run blocker or a top 5 run blocker. It was his pass protection. Ronnie Stanley from Baltimore is another guy that really throughout the process for the last year, that's been Olu's pro comparison. And Stanley was a guy coming out of Notre Dame, extremely highly regarded, especially in pass protection. And Stanley's career, by the way, has panned out. It's been pretty much pretty accurate with how people felt about Stanley and his transition to the next level. So I'm going to leave it there. I think I just want to end off with the silver lining here, and I'm going to keep talking about it until the draft is over. But the Jets can go in a bunch of different directions.